what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back at one of my favorite filming spot locations because guess what? I have the OG in SUVs from Hyundai. This is it. This is a 2023 Hyundai Santa Fe. This particular one is a limited trim, but guess what? This is the plug-in electric hybrid version of the Santa Fe. But before we get into this two-row mid-size SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. Like I said, the Santa Fe, it is the OG of Hyundai's SUVs. Back in Y2K, if you could believe that, the year 2000 is when they came out with the first Santa Fe, which was their introduction into crossover SUVs. And then slowly but surely they built upon that. It went from Santa Fe to the Tucson. Obviously they did the Kona. Lots of different examples of SUVs now in their lineup, including the larger Palisade. Now, of course, we're moving in a direction towards pure battery electrified vehicles, but plug-in hybrid is that next step in the electrification bridge before you get to pure EV. But what I want to find out is, this Santa Fe, basically a mid-size two-row SUV, is a very unique vehicle because of not only being two rows and being a midsize, but also its price point. So what I want to do is I want to compare this limited trim plug-in Santa Fe against another plug-in that's actually a little bit smaller, the RAV4 Prime from Toyota. So let's go ahead, let's dive into the Santa Fe limited trim and see which is the better buy. Right off the bat, unique styles. Hyundai has gone in a direction where they basically have taken that split light design and brought it into their own. So not the first brand to do it, but definitely I think one of the more successful ones. So you're gonna have your lower area, which has your full LED headlights, LED daytime running lamps, and then you have your turn signals up top. It is cool though, because when the turn signal is not on, this is also a daytime running lamp, and I like the way it trickles into the headlight housing. Now you are gonna get functional, not fake, but functional corner air curtains, and I like the way they carve this center area to really give it that airflow and give it a distinct look. Now when we come across that large, shiny grille, when you go limited trim, this is the specific grille that you're gonna get on a Santa Fe. Nice aluminum finish. I like it better than just pure chrome. Gives it a contemporary look, but lets you know that it's something a little bit fancier. I guess my one zonk is, I wish they would have made the Hyundai badge the same material. You can see how this is chrome style finish, and that's the aluminum style finish, and there's a little bit of a difference there. So it would have been nice to make it all unison, but you are gonna have a forward-facing camera, lower portion, some flat black, and then I like the way they brought more of that aluminum style finish, especially the way it curves up onto these sections on both sides of that lower grille. Now when we get up onto the hood, hood is gonna be exactly the same no matter which way you option your Santa Fe. And basically you get a nice little rise and then a boomerang on each side, and it kind of fades away. Now as we come around the bend, what are we working with wheel and tire setup on this Santa Fe Limited? So these are the wheels you're gonna get, aluminum finish, gunmetal metallic gray. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what is the size of this wheel? This is a 19-inch wheel, 235 on the width, 55 series sidewall, and we do have H-Track. What the heck is that? No, not 8-Track. That's something that people would listen to music on in the 1970s. H-Track is Hyundai's all-wheel drive system. So this does have all-wheel drive, plug-in electric hybrid. We'll talk more about what that means once we pop the hood. I think my big zonk is not the wheel, it's not the size of the tire, it's this. Let me know how you feel about that fender opening. I think, especially on a limited trim, the top trim, it should be body color matched. All silver, no flat black plastic. But let me know how you feel about that in the comment section. Coming down the side, we do get color matched on the mirror caps. Your LED turn signals, we got 360-degree cameras, a little bit of gloss black, bright shiny metalwork top and bottom around the window openings, aluminum finish on the door handles with some body color matching, and then on the bottom they brought the silver finish as well, that aluminum style finish as well. Up top you have your roof rails, you can get your crossbars put whatever you want up there, your mountain bike, your kayak, your canoe. I don't know, even if you had maybe a statue you wanted to drive around with on top of the roof, you could do that as well. But I do like the way it matches the trim down below. Working our way towards the rear, like I said, that all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive based, it will send power to the rear wheels, and it is mechanical. What does that mean? It has an actual drive shaft that drives the power from the front to the rear. Speaking of the rear, swinging around back, you are gonna get full LED lighting on the limited trim. There's your H-Track plug-in badge. I'm not a big fan of the badge. I wish they would do something a little bit cleaner. This sort of reminds me of back when I was in elementary school when we were learning the letters of the alphabet. I had these little magnetic plastic letters that I used to put on a board that my mom would have me spell out words with. That kind of reminds me of that. So, not my favorite, but it is a plug-in and it lets you know that it's a plug-in. Out back, you do have that low roof spoiler. You know how I feel about these wipers. We should start a petition, hide the wiper. It's like hashtag hide the wiper, put it underneath and just have it swing down. It would just clean up everything out back. We got our Santa Fe badge. Like I said, this badge is about 23 years old when you think about this being a 2023. And then working our way all the way to the bottom, I don't mind that. You see what I'm talking about? They didn't try to make it look like an exhaust. It just has some nice horizontal grooves in the black trim, and then they finished it off with that nice silver aluminum finish. But why don't we go ahead, let's talk about what the heck is a plug-in and pop the hood and see what this Hyundai Santa Fe is all about. Guys, hood popped, you do have hood struts. Underneath that hood is that hybrid connection that we have. What did we have? We have, like that engine cover says, a hybrid. Obviously, because this is a plug-in electric hybrid. We have a 1.6 liter turbocharged inline 4 that's paired to one electric motor. Combined, it's 260 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. This uses a 13.8 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack, 13.8 kilowatts, not gigawatts. That's a different movie. 0 to 60 in about 6.9 seconds. The vehicle weighs 4,496 pounds. Comparing it to the RAV4 Prime, you're gonna get your doors blown off. The RAV4 Prime accelerates about 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds, has 302 horsepower. I guess the big downside is that the RAV4 Prime has a CVT. Guess what? This doesn't. This has a traditional 6-speed automatic transmission with a torque converter. Where it equates to MPGEs, you're looking at 79 MPGEs in the city, 72 on the highway. Not as good as the RAV4 Prime, but you do get 31 miles of pure EV and 2,000 pounds worth of towing capacity. So it is an interesting idea to compare the larger Santa Fe plug-in hybrid technology setup with the RAV4 Prime being a little bit smaller, but obviously the RAV4 Prime has the faster 0 to 60, more horsepower, and better fuel efficiency. But let's go ahead, let's see this Hyundai Santa Fe in motion and see how it moves. All right, guys, we're inside this 2023 Hyundai Santa Fe limited plug-in electric hybrid. I know we're comparing it to the RAV4 Prime. Yeah, there's some others out there, but I really think that RAV4 Prime is the gold standard with what it brings. But it is pricey. And I know you're probably wondering, well, Joe, how much is this? So this Santa Fe, being a limited trim and being the plug-in electric hybrid, has an MSRP of $47,000. Now, before you freak out and you're like, $47,000, that's a crazy amount of money. It may be, but RAV4 Prime has an MSRP of $52,000, and this is a midsize. RAV4 Prime is a compact crossover SUV. So let's see how it stacks up on the inside to the door panels. I actually dig what Hyundai has done. Nice, clean styling. You got some soft touch material, and then you got this like kind of smoked gray area It hides fingerprints well. It's not meant to look like faux carbon fiber, and it just shows that there's other materials that manufacturers could be using. You got some nice white contrast stitching, no gloss black around the switch gear, and then check out the speaker grill cover. It's got this cool texture to where it feels like a teenager's face with a bunch of zits, but they're not bad zits. They're actually good. They're good bumps because it's got that Harman Kardon sound system underneath those speaker grills. The door pocket is deceiving. It makes you think you could get a foot long in there. Forget about it. Costco, hot dog, that's about it, and a can of Coca-Cola to wash it down. And the hot dog has been $1.85 for a very long time. Actually, I think it's $1.50 since 1985. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, you got more of that smoke gray area, and you got like that stepped system. Not my favorite, but you know what? Like I said, you can't deny the great stitching, soft touch material. Even on the lower side, you have, of course, your Hyundai official Twinkie tray, a baker's dozen of Twinkies. Just slot them in right there, and then slide on over, because guess what? We have a larger infotainment system than what you'll find in a RAV4 Prime. This is a 10.25-inch screen, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, yes, navigation, and yes, it is a full touchscreen. I like the way you could go into your plug-in electric hybrid setting, which I clicked it too many times. Gotta be gentle. And it actually shows our setup with the lithium-ion battery pack. There's our electric motor, and there's our 1.6-liter turbocharged inline-4. Like the way it's got those graphics. Obviously, when you're driving, it does all this cool stuff. You got passenger talk, you got quiet mode, all these different apps. You got more apps than a new iPhone. And then you can even adjust your climate control from the screen if you don't want to touch buttons. So definitely the better infotainment than a RAV4 Prime. Let's check out the backup camera. They're doing a pretty decent job for the price. Look at the resolution, nice and clear. And then you could go to different angles, and you got your 360 and trajectory. So they got you covered there. And then you go back right back to where you started, working your way down a plethora of buttons. So if you don't like screens, I like this. You got tons of buttons. You got dual climate control with your tabs. You got your little wonder wheel here where you could actually go from mode to mode to mode. I'll show you that on the business end. You can lock the center diff. This is going to control your 6-speed automatic transmission, not a CVT, heated steering wheel. This is for pure EV, 31 miles, hill descent control, and then you got heated and ventilated seats. Down below, check out the storage. You could easily put 4 softballs, a 12 volt, and then of course you got your USB-A. And what's great about putting your balls down here is you don't have to hold on to them while you're driving. So keep your balls nice and safe. Down below, we got a little fancy cover. What happens when we open it? Boop. You got a USB-A. You have a cup holder, and then here's your Hyundai key fob with Smart Park. That's where you can move the vehicle in and out of a parking spot with the key fob. Spin it around. That's the Hyundai badge. Wireless charging. You drop your phone right in there. And you got a cup holder. Kind of odd the way one cup holder is hidden, the other one gets to be seen. That's a little quirky for me, and I think I just took a Doug DeMauro saying, but that definitely is a quirk, and I'm going to call it a zonk because I would like one big lid here. Push the button, what happens? Boop. Open that up, you got yourself, this is great. So if you are a kid of the 80s like I am, you would remember like G.I. Joe, man. That was like one of the best things to use. And remember, they're not dolls. They're action figures with the combat grip. You could keep all of their weapons in this little cup holder, because I used to lose them all the time. Keep all the guns, the bombs, all the grenades, all that stuff. And then easily you could put, I would say, about 24 G.I. Joe guys and mix it up. Not just the Joes. Have some of the Cobra guys, Cobra Commander, Destro. You could have Destro in there and keep a little cloth and polish his head. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, use the interwebs. It'll educate you. Seats, check out the leather. Love the stitching, nice bolstering, full electric assist, of course, for the passenger and the driver. The headliner is interesting. It's almost like a jean material. I'm sure it's probably some recycled toilet paper that somebody used or something like that to get that texture. But you do have that one-touch operation. Look how fast that is. It's like, golly, I don't think I've ever seen a sunroof and a sunshade open and close as fast as this thing does. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Look at this. It's like a bullet train. But why don't you get your butt over here? I want to show you behind the digital display in this Hyundai Santa Fe. All right, guys, business time. 2 memory seat settings. I like the aluminum sill plate. Says Santa Fe with the little sun. Wake you up each day. You do get plenty of nice seat controls, especially, look at this, electric lower thigh support. It almost supports my calves, which my calves do need support, but it's nice to have that extra kind of movement of the seat. That's something that the RAV4 does not do. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm swimming in space in here. It's definitely really nicely laid out. Steering wheel, you got your leather all the way around. Not the greatest of horn buttons, but you know what? Toyota doesn't make a sexy horn button either. Flat black on all the switch gear. You do have paddles to go up and down the 6-speed automatic transmission, manual tilt and telescoping steering wheel. And then really the cherry on top of this Hyundai Santa Fe Sunday is that dash. You got your full digital display, 12 inches. Love the way you could display a cornucopia of information. And then on top of that, one of the things the RAV4 Prime doesn't have is this, your corner cameras for those blind spots. Great technology. The one thing it doesn't have is a head-up display, but I think I'm okay with that because this dash is really, really cool the way it is set up. And then when I take you for a spin, you'll be able to see when you go into the different modes, it changes how it looks. But let's get into the back seat and see if your passengers are going to be squished from a lithium-ion battery pack in the rear area. Let's get to the passenger space. All right, guys, back seat time, and this is another area where I would say, and I'm hoping that you would agree with me, that so far in the interior, the Santa Fe is kicking the butt of the RAV4 Prime, especially in this back seat area. So backs of the seats, you do have the soft material. You do have the harder plastic, but the good news is that I've learned from many of you is you tell me when your kids are picking their nose, or maybe you know, they have an accident in the car and they start putting, you know, hot chocolate fudge, but it's really not hot chocolate fudge, fingerprints all over the place, that it's easy to clean. I believe you, and no, I don't need to smell it. You do have nice large pockets. I would probably keep some Lysol wipes back there. If they're doing the hot chocolate fudge thing on a regular basis, I would keep some Lysol wipes because that's kind of disgusting, but to each their own. Back little area is a great command center on the back of the center console. You have your AC vents, USB-A's, and a home power source. Now, because of that, we're going to issue it a Raties Rides Gold Star. Gold Star of Achievement for having all this connectivity. There you go, Santa Fe. You can hold on to that. And like I said, you're not going to find all that in a RAV4 Prime. So the RAV4 Prime does not get a Gold Star when it comes to all that connectivity. Here's another thing you can't do in your RAV4 Prime. You ready? No, not that, you sicko. You could do that in a RAV4 Prime. You can't move the seats in a RAV4 Prime like that. So that's another nice sliding seat. And then this is incredible. I already thought that the seat was already pivoted and reclined full way. No, we got more to go. How low can you go? Look at that. That's actually pretty freaking impressive in this SUV. And then on top of that, you do have an armrest. The only challenge is it's not Charmin soft. It's more like Scott's, which, remember, Scott's is a 1-ply on the softness. So not the softness, but it's nice and large, and you got 2 cup holders. And then the best part is, if you are doing anything weird in the back seat, you could put up the security shades so people aren't watching you. Unless you want them to watch. I don't know. That's your business. But let's go ahead. Let's get into the cargo area and see how much room we have in this Santa Fe. It's time to get in that cargo area, and this is going to be the place where the Santa Fe wins hands down. I don't even need to show you, but I will show you that it has more room than the RAV4 Prime. You got your electric assist. As you can see, nice width, nice height. And if you want the hard numbers, basically you're looking at 36.4 cubic feet of space. What's great is that you do have some under the floor storage. You can literally put, I would say, 13 boxes of Twinkies underneath there. No, this is not a school backpack for your kids from Hyundai. This is where you have your charging accessories so that you could charge at home or at work and get that 31-mile range. On the passenger side, you'll notice that we have a little nook for an emergency Chipotle burrito. You could get extra guac in there. We do have a 12 volt, so when you're at the beach or camping, and then you do have the buttons to push down those rear seats. And they go down pretty well. As you can see, nice and smooth. That's gonna give you 72 cubic feet of space, more room than a RAV4 Prime. But you know what? It's about that time. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go ahead, put the rubber to the road, and go on throttle in this Santa Fe plug-in hybrid. All right, guys, we're in this 2023 Hyundai Santa Fe. This is that limited trim, pulling out on the road, plug-in electric hybrid. And right away, it's interesting how when the engine kicks on, you don't really feel it that much. We went from pure EV in the parking lot to now we are doing that whole hybrid setup. And you'll notice I take my foot off the throttle, the EV light comes on. So right now we're pure EV. And that's what's gonna extend your range. That's what gets you that crazy MPGe number. But nicely set up on the dash. Everything in here is easy to figure out. And I really like that about the Hyundai Santa Fe. We could easily get to that infotainment system. I'm gonna pull up. There is our plug-in hybrid graph showing you how everything is working with the battery, the motor, and the internal combustion engine. And then like I was telling you before, right now we're in snow mode, but I will change it because it's definitely not snowing. Now we're in sport, and you can see how the gauges change to a red. They even put racetrack curbing on your lane keep assist. If you heard that beep, it's perfect for those that like to be distracted on their phones all the time. It alerts you when the cars in front of you are moving. Now that we're in sport mode, it's gonna keep the engine on. And that's what's gonna give you that quicker, sportier acceleration when you go on throttle. Still surprising that it's not quicker than what it is. That's one area where the RAV4 Prime, hands down, 302 horsepower, it just blows the doors off of this particular vehicle. But the great news is very comfortable. The seats are fantastic, and you have that ventilated option, which even on a December day here in Florida, it does still get a little warm, and it's nice to have those ventilated seats. Dash is very easy to see. And then all the materials, I mean, everything feels really, really good in here. Not as plastic type as the RAV4 Prime. All right, guys, nobody's behind us. We're gonna go ahead and go on throttle. If you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. So you can hear that 4-cylinder turbocharged engine doing its thing. We could see how the power display is happening. On the brakes a little bit. Obviously not a race car by any means, but I just want to show off the H-Track system. I want to show how the car handles. And it's surprising that when you add that lithium-ion battery pack, because it's in the bottom of the vehicle, it lowers our center of gravity. So whenever you can lower your center of gravity, it's going to increase your handling feel and that handling ability because of where that weight is in the vehicle. But nice to see just how easy it is to operate, and hopefully this is very easy to understand from what is a plug-in electric hybrid. It allows you to do pure EV for up to 31 miles. So something to think about. All right, guys, I want to get us out onto the highway and see how this Santa Fe cruises down the road. I'm also going to put it into eco mode because obviously a lot of people buying this vehicle, they want to kind of be a little bit more frugal on their fuel consumption. So putting it into eco mode, that's going to give us our best way of getting that longer range. And you'll notice how the dash changes. You get this greenish color, and instead of any other information that's more sport oriented, you're actually getting a power gauge, which lets you know when you're charging the battery, when you're in eco mode, and then of course when you go into full power mode. But getting on the highway, it rides smooth. A little bit of road noise and a little bit of wind noise, but that's to be expected at this price point. But it's the blind spot cameras that are worth their weight in gold with this vehicle, and just allow you to really know what's going on around you. And then having that energy flow gauge shows you as well the information that's important for getting that longer range. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up, just to have the map up so you can see. I know a lot of people obviously are going to utilize the navigation, but I want to go ahead and pull up in the center here the all-wheel drive gauge. This is a really cool gauge because it'll let you know when you're using front-wheel drive, and then when you go on throttle, see how it sends some power to the rear wheels as it illuminates blue. So kind of cool to see how that all-wheel drive system is working. It's nice to have a visual just so you know exactly when it's doing its thing. And yes, I know people are like, oh, why would anybody need all-wheel drive in Florida? Listen, it rains a lot, and obviously we get a lot of hurricanes and flooding and stuff like that. All-wheel drive is gonna save your bacon in those situations, but including going on throttle. But here we go, on throttle. You can see all the power going to all four corners, and then it starts to dip down as we pick up speed. And then when you let off, now we're front wheel drive. And the whole point about that is to help with fuel economy. That's the thing, is that you want to try to maximize fuel economy as greatly as you can. But I'm hoping that this has been a nice overall review of the Hyundai Santa Fe limited trim and plug-in electric hybrid. We're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been one heck of a day with this Hyundai Santa Fe. That rhymes, and I'm a poet, I didn't even know it. I definitely wanna thank everybody at Hyundai for getting us access to this electrified plug-in press fleet vehicle. Let me know what you think in that comment section. Do you think that this is the best bang for your buck when you're going plug-in electric hybrid crossover SUV, or are you gonna basically spend a little bit more money and go the Toyota RAV4 Prime? Let me know in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Ladies Rides family. We got to give it up to Stephen Flood Photography, making the magic happen. You know what? He tries to make people happy, but a lot of times people let him down. So let him know in the comment section you won't let Stephen down. Thank you, Stephen, for all that you're doing. Just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.